The New York Jets have reached the bye week at 1-4, and we're going to be talking all about what Jets head coach Robert Saleh has to correct during this bye week if the Jets want to go out there and have a much better second half of the season and continue to build around quarterback Zach Wilson. But first, if you're new to the channel, I ask that you please subscribe right down below, like this video, and comment your thoughts afterwards. It helps the channel continue to grow, and I love hearing from each and every one of you. All right, with that being said, let's talk more about this game from yesterday, Jet fans. Falcons beat the Jets by now, 27-20 in London. And let's be real, the way the Jets played in the first half, the fact that it was only a 7-point game really doesn't tell the full story about how this went for the Jets. The Jets trailed 20-3 at halftime. Give them credit, they fight. They made it a game in the second half, but too many mistakes in the first half and then just the inability by the defense to get off the field when it mattered doomed the Jets yesterday in London. So now they're 1-4, but to me, you look at the Jets and going into this bye week before they play the Patriots 2 weeks from yesterday, the number one thing that the Jets have to correct during the bye week is why the heck they continue to start out as bad as any team we have seen in the NFL since 2015. Here are some numbers, and Jet fans, I apologize for having to, maybe have your ears listen to this on a Monday, but the Jets have been outscored in the first half of games 75-13. The Jets have failed to score 7 points in the first half for the fifth consecutive week. They are the first team to do that since the 2015 San Francisco 49ers. So it is unheard of how bad the Jets have been in these first halves of games. And the reality is, when you play teams in the NFL and you spot them, the leads the Jets have given to the opponent teams, you're not going to win. And that's got to be the number one thing that the Jets correct. If they came out and played better in the first half against the Panthers, they probably win that game. If they came out and played better yesterday against Atlanta, guess what? Despite all the issues, they probably win that game. So you look at the issues the Jets have had, even in the game they won against Tennessee, they didn't play well offensively in the first half. They got a great effort from the defense, holding Tennessee to 3 field goals, and they only trailed 9-7 at halftime. It was a blessing. But once again, the numbers don't lie. 75-13 being outscored in the first half of games. The number one thing Robert Saleh has to figure out is why. Because traditionally speaking, your early drives are all scripted. You script the first 10 to 15 plays in practice. Those are the plays you're working on throughout the course of the week. So the fact of the matter that the Jets continue to struggle as much as they do in the first half of games, and really the first quarter of games is even worse than the second quarter. I mean, I don't think the Jets have a point in the first quarter all season. It's been that bad for this team. So, you just look at where this team's at right now, and they played in some games here that were winnable if they just went out there and played better in the first half. And getting back to the whole thing about the plays being scripted at the very beginning, I mean, that is what's so disheartening if you're a fan of the Jets, because you're supposed to have success when the plays are scripted. Like, get on Adam Gase for a million different things. The one thing Gase did well is the Jets offense usually put up points on its opening drive. The Jets were not always getting blown out after the first 5 minutes of the game. Then they would get blown out. So it's baffling how it's like the total opposite with this offense that we saw last year with Gase and the year before with Gase, where they go out and they score on their opening drive, then do nothing. This year, the Jets have put themselves in such a hole, it's just tough to come back from that. And, yesterday in this game against the Falcons, it was on full display because the Jets go 3 and out, get the ball back to Atlanta. They go down the field and score. Jets get the ball back. 3 and out, give the ball back to Atlanta. They go back down the field and score. And then coming off the first drive of the game, where Atlanta benefited from the bogus roughing the passer call on Quincy Williams, the Jets going 3 and out 2 times in a row put them in a 17-0 hole. So then you look at the second half, and the Jets only allowed 10 points, or excuse me, only allowed 7 points in that second half. But it's too little, too late when you're going to go out there and put yourself in the hole in which the Jets put themselves in. So you look at the second half. Yeah, they scored some points. They moved the ball. You felt like, all right, they have a chance here, but it's just you're playing a Falcons team that's mediocre at best. So I can't I can't point to the Falcons and be like, well, they hung around. No, they got to win these games, right? I mean, it's part of a young team developing, but they got to find a way to win these games. And starting fresh, starting quicker is the only way they could do just that. So, I talked about this yesterday. I'd love to hear from you watching this live or after the fact. Like, my biggest takeaway from this loss yesterday is not the play of Zach Wilson. We know he struggled. We know he's a rookie and there's going to be highs and lows. Everyone that's complaining about Zach, I didn't see you complaining about him last week when he was the NFL's Rookie of the Week. And so I'm not answering the trolls about Zach Wilson. If you're done with Zach Wilson after 5 games, just admit you didn't want him in the first place, because you're a fool if you're giving up on a quarterback after 5 games when he has shown you the ability to be a great player in this league. We've seen the flashes. We saw it last week, for crying out loud. So I'm not spending any time on the anti-Zach Wilson people, because that to me is not the takeaway from this game. The takeaway from this game is, why is this offense continuing to play as bad as they have played in the first quarter and then in the first halves of these games? That's the number one thing that Saleh has to address. I think one thing the Jets could do to start off fast is maybe go no huddle to open up the game. Like, the Jets clearly are having issues when these plays are being scripted. So why not run a 2-minute offense where Zach has played well at times this year? Why not start with that just to get them going, right? Get the blood pressure up, like everyone in an up-tempo pace. Like, let's go, quick plays, get the ball off. I think just switching up whatever they're doing, that has to be the goal for Saleh and company, during this break. And I think, part of the issue for the Jets, unfortunately, is just the inexperience that they have. They got a rookie head coach, a rookie OC, and a rookie quarterback. So there's going to be growing pains with this team. But correcting this during the bye has got to be the number one priority. Obviously, yesterday's loss was disheartening in a sense that, if your defense plays a little better, you might have a chance to win this game. But this was the first really poor game the Jets defense has played. Offensively, they've been bad all year in the first half of these games. So to me, the number one goal for Robert Saleh during this bye week has to be, all right, what are we doing on offense that's not working? How do we sustain some drives? And here's the thing, too. It's not even necessarily about scoring points on your first couple drives in the first quarter or in the first half of these games. Like, yes, the goal is to score touchdowns. You want points. Field goals would be nice as well. But they're not even moving the ball. Like, if you go and have, let's say, a 30 or 40-yard drive that ends in a punt, all right, but you move the chains a couple times. You flip the field position. I think a big issue in this game yesterday is the fact that the Jets defense played 90-something snaps in a game that went to overtime against Tennessee last week. You follow that up with a cross-country trip going across the pond, different time zone, and then the defense is on the field an enormous amount of times throughout the course of this game. And I think that caught up to them yesterday because the offense got off to such a slow start. I think the defense was gassed in the second half, right? The total plays in this game yesterday, Atlanta ran 75 total plays. The Jets only ran 52. That's just not going to get it done. And when you put yourself in a hole and you're the Jets, a team that does not have an enormous amount of talent, as we all know, as you're a rebuilding team, you're not going to win those games. Like, the Jets have now lost 78 straight games in which they trailed by at least 17 points. So the last time the Jets won a game where they trailed by at least 17 points, you got to go back to Jumbo Elliott in the Monday Night Miracle against the Dolphins in the year 2000. Like, that's what we're talking about. So you cannot put yourself in a hole, and they continue to do it. They got lucky when they put themselves in the hole against the Titans last week. The defense bailed them out and held Tennessee to 3 field goals in the first half. If Tannehill scores a touchdown on one of those drives last week, they probably don't come back and beat the Titans. So the margin for error with this team is razor thin. So starting fast has to be a must for this team. They will get beat by a lot of teams in this league because they just don't have the talent to match up. But they're going to get beat by every team in this league if they start and they go down 17-3 in these games. We know Zach Wilson's going to have up and down games, but it's inexplicable why they have been so bad at the beginning of these games. So they have to correct that during the bye week here. That's on Robert Saleh to identify what the problem is and come up with the solution to how to fix it. Because if you continue to put yourself in a hole, you do not have a chance to win. You're not going to beat the Patriots. You're not going to beat the Bengals. Those are the two teams coming up on the schedule. So the Jets are going to be tested here. If they want to steal one of these games here, they got to start quicker. They got to go out there and play faster, move the chains, get Wilson into a rhythm early. I don't know what it's going to take to do it, but that's why Robert Saleh is paid millions of dollars to be an NFL head coach. It's on him to figure it out. With that being said, let's take some comments and questions here from the Jet fan. What do we got here? Christopher. Oh, the pain. Yes, yesterday was very painful. I see Hanover First with a great comment, or Hanover Fist. Ask Gase how he plans his first drives. How about this for a suggestion? The Jets bring in Adam Gase as like an offensive consultant to figure out what they did well on the first drives of the game. How about that for an idea? I mean, seriously, that's like the one thing Adam Gase actually did. Try smelling salts. I mean, maybe Robert Saleh could channel his inner Gase with some smelling salts. I don't know. But either way, starting fast has to be the number one thing. Ultimate Warrior, LaFleur and his play calling is very questionable. I have been down on LaFleur as a play caller thus far. If you watch the videos every day, you know I've been very fair, I think, in my criticisms of LaFleur. But with that being said, some of this is on Zach Wilson. Like, we're not going to sugarcoat it. Zach Wilson needs to fundamentally get back to basics here. Like, there were some plays in that first half where LaFleur called a great screen, right? Jamison Crowder's wide open, and Zach's throwing it at his feet. They have a screen play to Michael Carter with blocking in front, and Zach's throwing it off the back of Morgan Moses. So, obviously, Zach's a rookie. He's not going to be perfect. He's going to make his mistakes. But it's not just LaFleur here. It's getting LaFleur and Wilson on the same page, yes, but it's also how do we get Zach Wilson comfortable in these games? He seems to play really well when it's up tempo. He's off schedule. He's out of the pocket. You know, is it more play action early? Is it more design PA rollouts? Whatever it is, they got to get back to the drawing board and find a way to get off to a better start. Second wave writes in. There's not a sense of urgency until they're down 17. I agree. I think they need to come out with more of a sense of urgency. Like, treat the opening drive as if it's the 2-minute drill. Like, you're down and you need points, right? You have to do something to get into a rhythm early because you can't spot teams 17, 20-3 leads at halftime. So there you go. I'm not even going to answer this boss guy's question because you're a fool. I'm going to put you in a timeout. It's going to let me do that here on StreamYard. So you're in timeout, the boss. See you later. Let's see. Eric Craig. They are running a 21 personnel in the first half, and it's killing us. Change the formation, get Wesco out and Mims in. Eric, I agree with you as far as Denzel Mims needs to play more. I've been talking about this for weeks. I look, Denzel Mims, you can't deny when he's been on the field this year in the limited action, he's made plays. Use him more. I rather see Mims than Keelan Cole. I don't understand the fascination with Keelan Cole. He's fine, but I'd rather give the young player the opportunity to get some experience in a year where you're trying to develop. So, look, I think more Mims, but also more importantly, I would like to see more Elijah Moore, pun intended. But the Jets need to utilize more in this offense. So you look at the stat line yesterday, and obviously Elijah Moore, you go, well, he didn't have a catch in this game. But in his 2 targets, one of them he drew a penalty that set up the Jets for one of their touchdowns. So going out there and taking maybe some more chances deep, right? You could draw penalties. That's allowed. Like the Jets, I don't know. I think they get in their head too early on in these games, and they need to come out and be way more aggressive. And that will help this team go out there and find more success. What do we got here? Do you think they were drinking their own Kool-Aid? Offensive player of the week. No, I don't think that's what happened. I just think, ultimately Zach Wilson's a rookie quarterback, and there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. All the people that bring up, Sam Darnold, this and that. Remember, when Sam Darnold had his best game as a Jet, which you could argue was that Cowboys win in 2019 when Sam came back from mono. What happened after that game the following week was the seeing ghost game against the New England Patriots, right? So, and if it wasn't that week, it was the Jaguars game after it. Either way, that was the order. It was either Jacksonville or New England, and Sam was horrendous in both those games. So that was Sam Darnold. He was in his second year at the time. Zach Wilson's a rookie. There's going to be highs. There's going to be lows. I expected that. I think it's more just a mental thing with this team, how they got to come out and start fresh. I think they need to treat the first quarter like it's the like it's the fourth quarter. There has to be like a mental intensity that they could check into, that they could go out there and play a lot better going forward. Wayne writes in, need a sports psychologist and add a first half offensive coordinator. It's inexplicable how bad they have been in the first half of these games. Hand over fist. I hope Saleh's watching. Maybe he'll learn some things. Look, Robert, if you want me to come in and talk to the team, I'd be happy to do it. I trust you. I think you'll figure it out, but it has to get better because I don't understand why this team is going out there and playing the way they are in the first half. Are there any trade targets for a competent center? The offensive line the Jets have, that's going to be the team that they have as far as what they are up front. Obviously, you'll get Becton back at some point here in the coming weeks, and you hope that he goes out there and can stay healthy for the remainder of his sophomore season so we can get a chance to see him evaluated going forward. What do we got here? JD needs to sign the best free agent center. I'm having more fun looking at the draft than watching the team. I think, unfortunately, once again, the offensive line that they have is the offensive line they're going to have for the season. There's not going to be swift wholesale changes. They got to just get better as a group. They have improved. It's not like Zach Wilson has been running for his life the last two games. He just has to play better on his own. He has to obviously learn from the mistakes he's making. And I think the Jets got to put Zach in a better position to have success. I'm not going to make every excuse for him. He was bad yesterday. There were some throws that he missed that he's got to make as an NFL quarterback. But we know the talent is there with Zach. We've seen it. They obviously just need him to, get over whatever's going on mentally as far as why they get off the slow starts and some of the easy completions that he's missing. I'll promise you this, though. I'd be shocked if out of the Jets' 4 picks that they have in the the Jets have 7 picks in the first 4 rounds. I would be shocked if at least 2 of those picks are not premium offensive linemen. Like, I think there's a chance the Jets go center in round 1 as an example. So there's a lot to look at with this team. There's a lot of needs, obviously. Improving this offensive line in the middle after they've done left tackle and left guard in back-to-back years, that's got to be a must for Joe Douglas. But we'll worry about that when we get closer to the draft and not sitting here on Columbus Day on October 11th. What do we got here? Do you think Joe Douglas dropped the ball not signing a veteran quarterback mentor for Zach? I have mixed opinions on this. Now, the people that I talk to say it's overrated. It's not that important. They have the resources for Zach there. But to me, would it have been a bad thing if there was a veteran in that room? No, I don't think there's any downside. Like, Josh Johnson's on the practice squad, but I don't know how much he's really doing. He does have NFL experience. I don't think this is why, Zach's had his issues. I know we love to bring up, well, Josh McCown was there for Sam, and that's true. But, ultimately, like, Sam Darnold was going to be good or bad based on him, not Josh McCown. And also, Sam Darnold's kind of come back down to earth a little bit the last couple games. And, I wonder why. Might have something to do with the fact he can't check it down to Christian McCaffrey 10-plus times a game. But this is not a Sam Darnold video. I just want to point that out. What else do we have here? Trade LaFleur. Yeah, LaFleur is not going to be very popular amongst fans right now. And I get it. It's easy to blame the offensive coordinator. And I think LaFleur does have some blame, but I think it's also on the players as well. It's on Zach, and I think it's on just the Jets to just have a sense of urgency of, we need to come out and start fast. We need to come out and make plays. We can't start playing when we're down by double digits. Like, that's the big thing that this team has to get better at. There's no doubt about that. Solomon writes in, I think it's a new team, rookie quarterback, why they start really slow. If Zach is slaying, someone else is not on point. And so, look, there's no doubt there was going to be growing pains with this team. We all said it coming in, and now we're watching the Jets go through it. And I think a lot of us, maybe overhyped this team after their great win last week. I know I'm certainly victim of it because I thought the Jets were going to win yesterday. I think the reality is the team the Jets are right now will not be the team that they are towards the end of the year. I really believe we will see improvement as we go. We'll see some highs, and unfortunately, we're going to see some lows like what we saw yesterday. The one thing I'll say about this Jets team that is different than the team we saw last year, this Jets team fights. So, how much is that really worth in the big picture? I mean, you tell me. But last year, the Jets gave up in some of these games. Like, it's just they were getting blown out by double digits in so many of these games. This year, I see the sense of fight. I see the Jets going out there and hanging around, not quitting on their coach, still playing hard. These are things that you expect, but unfortunately, that was not the case last year. And ultimately, look, we got to all look at this big picture. Zach Wilson's played 5 games. Robert Saleh's coached 5 games. Mike LaFleur's coached 5 games. There are still, in a 17-game season now, mind you, there are still 12 games left in this season. And I think ultimately this Jets team will get better as the year goes on. This will be the first big test, though, for Robert Saleh. That's why I wanted to headline this video talking about the bye week specifically. The Jets for years have lacked coaching adjustments. We need to see now the bye week lead to an adjustment for this Jets team where they can figure out the issues that they have had offensively here. Will M, 3-14 or 2-15. I think they win way more than 3 games. I still think the Jets can win as many as 6 games this season. Maybe it's 5, maybe it's 6. I don't think they'll get to the 7 mark where I thought they'd be. I said 6 and 7 before the year. I don't know if they'll be there, but I think they're going to win way more than 2 games, way more than 3 games. Another question from Zach Asman here. What will the record be at the end of the season? I'll say 5 wins for the Jets. But to me, it's not necessarily about the wins. I need to see progress from Zach Wilson and this offense in general. There's going to be growing pains. I see Ralph has a very astute point here. It's only 5 games. Let's not bury them. I believe in Saleh and Zach will turn things around. It's interesting. So Robert Saleh came from the Niners with Kyle Shanahan. I think we all agree Kyle Shanahan's a pretty good NFL head coach, right? Kyle Shanahan started 0-7 as an NFL head coach. Brian Flores, I think, was either 0-7 or 0-8. So success is not always lateral. It's going to take time. I think we've seen the flashes with Zach Wilson in particular. He just has to continue to get better. And, I think it's what I said at the beginning, and I see Dennis makes this point as well. If starting fresh means faster, means going up tempo early, that's something the Jets have to do here. There's no doubt about that. What do we got here? Matt A. The Jets defense was never good to begin with. They hadn't faced a legit quarterback with weapons all year. Then Tannehill and Ryan ate them up. Well, I mean, did we watch the same game last week, Matt? Because I don't think Ryan Tannehill ate up the Jets defense at all. Now, yesterday, look, I'll talk more about the Jets defense throughout the week, and I did a video really talking about them yesterday. I was very disappointed with the play of the Jets defense yesterday. You can't defend, some of the decisions that they made, as far as using John Franklin Myers and Bryce Huff and pass coverage. I think the fact is that because we all knew, all right, without Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage, watch out for Patterson and watch out for Pitts, which means if we know that, the Jets coaching staff certainly knows that, and they still couldn't stop them. I thought it was a bad day for the Jets coaches. If I'm going to give the praise to Saleh and Ulbrich for how the Jets defense has played, then they deserve the criticism for how poorly the Jets defense played. I think part of it is they were gassed. I talked about that earlier in the video, but that's not an excuse because ultimately when the Jets needed to get a stop down 20-17 late, they allowed that bomb over the middle to a wide open Kyle Pitts. And then 3rd and 13, you're thinking, get off the field, please. You give up a first down. 3rd and 3, you give up a first down. Forget holding them to just a field goal. The Jets defense allowed a touchdown at the end of the game, which essentially put this out of reach. The penalties the Jets committed defensively, they were bad as well. So it was a bad day for the Jets defense. They had a bad game. They've been very good, though, overall, given some of the issues we thought with the talent coming in. So, look, this Jets defense is a work in progress. They had a bad game yesterday. To me, the bigger issue for this Jets team is not the defense and how they played yesterday. The bigger issue for me is going back to the stat I gave out at the beginning of this video. The fact is that this team's been outscored in the first half of games, 75-13. That's the difference in the season right now for the Jets. The slow starts have essentially prevented them maybe 2 wins. Carolina in this game yesterday, I could directly point to and say if the Jets started out better and played like a team that they did in the second half, they might have 2 more wins right now. Let's split it. Let's say they'd have at least 1 more win right now if they figured out what the issues are in the first half of these games. So 2-3 at the bye sounds a lot better than 1-4 at the bye. That's why the emphasis has to be to fix this first half issue with the offense and quarterback play. Bruce White, hold on, Jet fans. There are growing pains, and we all said we could deal with it. Don't jump ship now. Yeah, you can't jump ship after a 1-4 start when you got a rookie quarterback who's played 5 games. You can't. You're not a real fan if you're jumping ship. So I don't even entertain that at all, Bruce. Let's see. Joe Butter. What happened to the pass rush disappeared completely. It was a bad day for the defense. It was a very bad day for the defense. They had chances to make plays. They did make a couple plays, right? They did force a couple turnovers, but it wasn't enough because when the game was on the line, that 3rd and 13 is going to haunt, I think, every Jet fan now for the next 2 weeks while we wait for this team to play again. What do we got here? We'll take a couple more. Thanks to everyone who's watching this live. And if you're watching after the fact, comment your thoughts on the video down below. Give me a like and a subscribe as I hope to continue to grow this channel. Nicholas writes in, how long of a leash do we give this coaching staff and Zach Wilson? I mean, the coaching staff is not going anywhere. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you LaFleur's got a job for life, but they're not going to make any changes off of 5 games. They're rookies. They're going to get the full season, and then there'll be an evaluation process. Zach Wilson's the quarterback next year, no matter what, right? Like, he was the 2nd overall pick in the draft. He's the guy the Jets are building around. They love him and think he's going to be a great player. We've seen why the Jets like him. We've seen the flashes. Like, Zach Wilson had a better game last week than any rookie quarterback has had so far in 2021. So let's put that in perspective here, right? Like I cover the Texans for a living. I watched Davis Mills and Mac Jones yesterday. Rookie quarterback struggle. Mac Jones didn't have a good game yesterday. Davis Mills had a horrendous game against the Bills last week. He bounced back and played actually a pretty good game yesterday against the Patriots. It's going to be up and down, up and down. Trevor Lawrence hasn't been great. Like, we got to just understand that evaluating a quarterback 5 games in is asinine. Also, let's use the Daniel Jones example here. Daniel Jones was good as a rookie. I thought he regressed in year 2. He's played very well this year, despite the fact the Giants only have 1 win this season. Like, you got to give quarterbacks time to develop. The ultimate example, though, is Josh Allen. As much as it pains me to talk about how good the Bills are, Josh Allen was as a rookie. He wasn't good. He was much better in year 2, but still completed under 60% of his passes, and his team went to the playoffs more so because of the roster than because of him. He played awful in that playoff game against the Texans, and then in year 3, he's an MVP candidate, and in year 4, he's an MVP candidate. So you got to be patient and trust that the Jets are going to continue to add pieces around Zach Wilson for him to be successful. And the thing I point to is that Joe Douglas's blueprint to build this team, I think it's a smart one. The Jets have the draft capital this year to help Zach. Jet fans, you want a new center? I guarantee you'll get one either in free agency or in the draft when the Jets have 7 picks, 7 in the first 4 rounds. Hat tip to my brother for sending me this morning. How about this Chris Herndon trade that Joe Douglas made? Through 5 games on the Vikings, Chris Herndon has 0 catches, 0 yards, 2 targets, 2 penalties. He's only played in 15% of Minnesota's offensive snaps. Douglas fleeced them for a 4th-round pick. How about the Sam Darnold trade? Imagine getting a 2nd and a 4th for Sam Darnold. Have you seen how he's played lately? The Jets fleeced the Panthers in the Sam Darnold trade. You think Sam Darnold's worth $20 million to pay right now for next year's QB option? No, it never made any sense. You had to start fresh with a new coach, get a new quarterback. Everyone is on the same timeline. So Nicholas's overall point, well, what's the leash for this coaching staff and ZW? It's not just ZW and the staff. It's Joe Douglas as well. They're all in unison. They're all synced up. They're going to get multiple years to piece together this plan. And I think the evidence is there that Douglas has a plan in place. Let's talk about Elijah Vera Tucker. Not to be, lost in the mix here, but Elijah Vera Tucker has been outstanding for the Jets the last 2 weeks. He's been PFF's 5th-ranked guard over the last 2 weeks. He pitched a shutout as far as non-pressures allowed last week, and he was excellent in the game yesterday against the Atlanta Falcons. So that's a piece that you point to and say, all right, Joe Douglas got that one right? We just got to be patient and allow these young players to continue to develop. They have the ingredients to be a good team going forward if they hit on Zach. So it's all about Zach, and I say all that to point out that he just needs more time, man. We've seen the flashes. We're seeing the core of this team get put together here. They're the youngest team in the NFL, and they played 5 games. So as frustrated as I am, the leash for the coaching staff and ZW is a very long time. I'm not down on Saleh and Zach Wilson after 5 games. I think that'd be asinine if you're a Jet fan and you're already out on those guys. Also, let's talk about the Jamal Adams trade for a moment, because I can never talk enough about it. One of the worst trades in the history of the NFL was the Jamal Adams trade. To get 2 ones and a third-round pick for Jamal Adams, who Seattle then had to pay $18.5 million a year, and they still have the worst defense in the NFL, and now Russell Wilson's hurt. I mean, it's just the Jets could be looking at a scenario where they have 2 picks in the top 15 this year, maybe 2 picks in the top 10 if Geno Smith really is bad for the Seahawks. So I'm not out on Joe Douglas. You got to give his draft picks time to develop. It's unfortunate that a lot of the players in the 2020 class are injured, but I believe in Becton. I believe in Vera Tucker. I believe in Zach. I think more is going to be good. We just got to be patient here. So everyone's just got to take it easy, chill out, and trust that the plan's in place here for this team to continue to develop here. It's 5 games in. It's frustrating, but I think they're going to be okay when push comes to shove. With that being said, we've gone for about 30 minutes. I want to thank everyone who took time to tune into this video, either live or after the fact. Jet fans, you guys are the absolute best. I think the Jets have the best fan base on YouTube. I mean, the interaction, the passion, it's great each and every day that I get the chance to do some of these videos. So I want to thank all of you for being a part of it. My name is Jake Asman. This has been the Jake Asman Show for a Monday. Please subscribe, like this video, and comment your thoughts as well. Have a good Monday, everybody, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya.